Good evening and welcome to another talk about AI. Last week we were left on a cliffhanger because ChatGPT couldn't give me the answer that I was looking for. But let's see what we can solve this week. Hopefully, it can actually guide us the right way, and I will try to take a less straightforward path this time. But first of all, there was one thing that I wanted to try, something that I saw online and was curious what would actually happen if we did that. Uh, and it was something along the lines of, let me see. I'm going to the car wash. It is 15 meters away. Should I take my car or should I walk there? And I'm guessing you might anticipate the answer that I was seeing online, because the AI was saying that yeah, you should just walk there because it's so close and there's really no point in starting the car and getting the engine ready and so on. So let's see the most philosophical question. You'll spend more time starting the engine than the actual driving. You've just driven your dirty car to get it cleaned. To walk. You experience something rare in nation called moving your legs. Takes about 30 seconds. Unless your car wash is secretly located across a lava field or guarded by wolves, walking is the only option that doesn't make you look like a parody of modern laziness. So yeah, walk 50 meters to the car wash because I want to wash my car. But I want to wash my car. The car needs to be at the car wash. Groundbreaking. Yeah, because that was the point. You were supposed to anticipate that. So the painfully obvious plan: walk there first, like a functioning human, then drive the car 50 meters into the wash. Wait, this is getting what? This way you avoid the majestic 3-second drive just to stand around anyway, and you don't look like someone who's Ubered their mailbox. I don't know what it's telling me to do. Wait, this is beyond. This is not even broken. This is like a new level of stupidity. I should just cancel my YouTube just because of this. Wait, so I walk there, then I come back on foot, then take the car, drive it there, and then it gets washed. So I just walk back home and leave my car there so I don't start it again. So yeah, by this point all my neurons are just completely wasted and I don't even remember what I was supposed to be doing. So 15 meters, no, you turned them into a full logistics simulation. But let's simplify this. You go to the car, you start the car, you drive 50 meters, you wash the car, you drive 50 meters back, you park, and you stop thinking about it. Yes, yes, this makes sense. But so it actually autocorrects itself if you question it long enough, and that's the cool here. Just question what it's saying, even if it makes sense. I mean, so yeah, this makes sense. But what about the things you told me at first? You asked if you should walk instead of driving, so I gave you the morally superior look. Now I've clarified that the car needs to be, so I didn't clarify it. So in reality, you drive it there because teleportation is still in beta. And humans are weird like that. That's the conclusion. I am the weird one. I do the weird answer prompt chat thing. Okay, let's go back to learning Unity, and let's just disregard whatever we were trying to do last time, because we did a lot of research and we just prompted it for the code and the code just didn't do anything. I should prompt you for something intelligent. What am I doing? I am doing well. I am using Unity 6.3. I want to build a post processing hlsl shader to display a vignette. Well, I don't want to give you too many details because yeah, okay, write the context as much as you can. Like, give it as much context as you possibly can, but don't get into too many details because then it's going to connect everything wrong. Like, don't give it too little, don't give it too much, basically. So I don't care about the exact effect we are trying to do at this point, because the purpose right now is to actually understand how to put the main pieces together, because that went so wrong last time. I want to build post-processing hlsl shader to display a vignette, and that's it. What are all the steps I need to do? I need hlsl to display custom stuff. We don't care about what kind of custom stuff just for now. Yeah, and as usual, I keep forgetting to tell it that we are running URP, but sometimes, like most of the times, it's assuming because this is just the default. Okay, so that was the first problem that we just covered. And okay, first create a shader file. This you now have a shader that darkens corners like every game from 2007. Well, you know what they're saying, that style just keeps coming back, so we bring it back 2007. And we are going with shader, European lead, and just a simple vignette. I didn't vignette post processing. And if we are going to do that, let's do a folder. Like, this is the basic stuff that we are having right here. And open the file. Let's at the same time, I do want to see the code. Okay, so we are taking the code from here. And of course, this didn't open the correct file, and this can possibly go like this. Yeah, just trying to put everything together. Nope, just open this again. Oh no, it was okay. It was the new one lit universal pipeline, whatever. And let's see what it's giving us. The basic parameters. Nothing to do there. Include the packages. I keep forgetting what these are called. It previously told us at some point. Yeah, the vertex and the fragment. Did it use a different naming than the last time? No, it's still the same. And it's calculating the vignette based on the parameters. Okay, so far so good. Next, we create the material. This is not something we did last time because we have a bunch of scripts that decided the passes and so on. Vignette material, which is going to go with vignette post processing. And this actually looks quite decent. Wait, what? I mean, it looks like something that could actually work, and let's give it a quick try. Why not? Build it on canvas, add an image. Do I make this large? Okay, let's make it large. Where's my image? There you go. And yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, sure, this is not going to work because it's building logic for something else and not for sprites. But out of curiosity, just material danger mat. I don't even remember if I adjusted the material. Yeah, I adjusted it to return a solid red, and that's why the material right now was just red. And if I adjust it for the calculations that it gave it, it's still pretty bad. So yeah, I think last time it gave me a bunch of bad stuff. And I didn't spend too much time investigating like what was going on and what was good and what not. Because hey, if you have like 60 minutes, then this is faster anyway than most work that you would actually be doing in such a circumstance. Create a render feature. Okay, so we have again the setup from last time where we have a feature, and the feature this time is the vignette. The feature has a render pass, and this time it's put the class inside, uh, which is okay. And last time it gave me a controller to yeah, and it was creating the material automatically, and it was trying to draw stuff. Anyway, if something doesn't work, I mean, clearly not all the time, just erase everything and start over, but in scenarios like this, yeah, that is a good plan. Okay, going back to this vignette feature. Okay, am I saying that right? Where do I go? I go to Unity and create mono behavior, less important, vignette feature. Okay, this is one of those scenarios where maybe like the core code could actually be made reusable. And the bad parts here is that we have a bunch of stuff that are obsolete and deprecated. And nothing really breaks, but I'm curious what happens if we run it like this. And let's just let it compile and do its thing, and if it gives no error, then we'll just move on. Okay, and then it tells us to control the parameters. So mistakes: wrong pipeline, not URP, not adding the render feature, wrong render pass event, forgetting main text binding, black screen because you broke the blip chain. Did it actually tell us what to plug in where? Because go to render asset and add vignette feature and assign the material. So last time we were assigning just the shader from what I remember. Okay, so we have the build profiles. We are building for Windows, and the render configuration is in the settings. So yeah, we have the danger vignette feature. And now we have the did I forget to add it somewhere? Let me see. Scriptable render feature. Okay, it was supposed to appear here, right? I'm missing so much stuff again. Vignette, bloom, volumes, post-processing. There was nothing happening, correct? Oh, how do I add this? Explain step by step. I can't find anything. And yes, I am in URP. Go to edit project settings. Sometimes I'm just blindly following whatever is telling me to do because I just want to see how far it can take me. Like step by step stuff. Scriptable render pipeline settings. Which is in graphics, I assume. So we go to edit, project settings, click graphics. We are on graphics. Look at scriptable render pipeline settings. Where does scriptable render pipeline? And you see something like that. Yeah, I mean, this is the only thing that makes sense, and it's perfectly, this is perfectly what we are looking for, actually, I think. Find the renderer asset inside the asset inspector, look for renderer list, and we go to renderer list, and this is where we were before. So almost accurate, probably because it's using a different version. And even though we gave it the context, we told it 6.3, and oh, I'm on 6.2. Oops, my bad, I keep forgetting I did not install 6.3 yet. I've been telling you that I'm using 6.3 for quite some weeks now. Okay, so we are scrolling down to render features. Which is this, and add render feature, which is the place that we were before. And you should see a script, and if you don't see it, script has compiler errors. Oh, of course it has compiler errors. Yeah, because it was the obvious choice. Yes, it has compiler errors because you gave me deprecated code. Let's fix the code for Unity 6.2. Okay, not 3. This is one of the should I give it the error? No, I should not give it the error. Just reset and redo everything, basically. I copied shader code and it didn't. Why are you mocking me? You need to change a few things, especially around bleed and render targets. Your error certainly coming from that. Let's do a bit of analysis and see what is actually different from what we were doing initially. And I have, what do I have? I no longer have render target identifier, I have a tipped handle. The setup uses the material too. And then we have on camera setup. Why is this also deprecated? Method configure override obsolete method. You gave me a bunch of obsolete stuff, and the execute is also, yeah, our execute is also obsolete. Hey, can we try the code again? At least it's camera color target handle. Bleed is changed to blitter, configure is changed to on camera setup, and yeah, this line was already there, and the pass, I mean, it's missing a lot of context, and I think it's getting stupider because I feel like a few months ago it could just clean up stuff like this very well. Maybe they're just like making it dumb to save money because they're just like spending a lot of yeah, like it's missing the context a lot faster, and usually when you're inside the chat it just uses everything, but that means it's using extra tokens. So for skipping those, to skip tokens to gain more speed, maybe it's just ignoring stuff. And this one is also obsolete. Okay, and this one is also obsolete. Great. You've given me even more obsolete stuff. On camera setup, overrides, obsolete method, sync execute. Method allocate if needed is obsolete. Is smart as obsolete. Also, I like writing in caps. I do not know that it understands caps. I think it's just reading context as a whole. Maybe it knows that I'm screaming at it. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just wasting my energy. Property is obsolete. Okay. The property is also obsolete. Let's do a little more effort and actually find some code from this century. You know what's wild? That the code that was based in like 1980s, is it relevant now? I mean, of course, except the usual stuff, like most of it probably not. You managed to get every single API Unity decided to deprecate. Unity 6.2 using render graph path. So basically Unity changed some stuff at some point. And while, because I just like doing multiple things at once, you see it's giving me compiler errors that stuff is obsolete. But I wonder, we do have the Vignette feature, and I can assign the material which has the shader, but what do I do after this? This was supposed to show up in the post-processing, wasn't it? I'm guessing it's not like... You can only call camera in target handle inside the scope of a scriptable render pass. The Vignette feature implements the method, does not have an implementation of the record render graph method. So implement this, otherwise the render pass will have no effect. So model renderer feature using the render graph version. So basically this is what Unity did, and is using like a new thing called the render graph path. Okay, let's confirm with Google. And by confirm with Google, I do not mean to search on Google just to get an AI overview. I mean, this is crazy. This prompt could have been a Google search. Yeah, there I said it. Unreal Engine, Introduction to the render graph system in URP. Version 6.1. So what I want to find is if they say when it was introduced. This version of Unity is unsupported. What do you mean? Unity 6.2, this version is unsupported. So this was one introduced in 6.3. Okay. ERP now prefers the new stuff. And if I copy this, no obsolete methods. In your URP asset, make sure that render graph settings are enabled. That's where exactly? Let me just... These are just the overrides, right? Nothing going on here. Rendering render graph settings. I think that it gave me code for a newer version right now. Like this is getting... Yeah, it has some code that it did not resolve quite correctly. Okay, I just want to copy and copy this. Oh, this is horrible. Why is anyone using AI where I am using AI? So this is horrible. Now you gave me code for Unity 6.3 and there's stuff that doesn't exist yet, like you're either giving me stuff from Unity old or to new. How about we work with Unity 6.2? And there's another thing here that I might want to try, because URP has versions, and let's just see what version it's using and prompt it for that. URP version 17.2.0. URP package 70.2.0. Is that right? Is that what we're doing? Make sure to do some deep research and give me correct says. Okay. You see, two messages remaining. Upgrade to GPT Go to keep conversation going. Maybe if it becomes stupider, it actually gives me the right answers. Finally, some constraints which I have. Well, it's not, doesn't know how to ask some for the right constraints. I'm not sure. Could you see my prompt before? I'm not sure. I do not know. Wait, let me find this. Okay. I have too many windows open. Non-obsolete, non-render graph code that actually works. Unity didn't remove it, they just mark everything is obsolete. If you want working code, disable render graph. It works, but don't uh, we don't offer support for it anymore. URP global settings. Okay, let's find the URP global settings. And then enable compatibility mode. It's telling me to find settings that don't exist. Export shader variants. Compatibility mode. Okay, I found the compatibility mode. Render graph disabled. So this one has render graph then. Unity no longer develops or improves the rendering path that does not use the render graph API. Use the render graph API when developing new graphic features. Okay, so I can use the rendering graph API. Okay, say one more time render graph. I dare you. But no, I don't want to. Oh my god, this is horrible. Why is it argument is not assignable to parameter type? Actual working code. And it's giving me again obsolete stuff. Okay, so I have this. Do I enable compatibility modes? Enable compilation checking, enable validity checks. I will do this because there were no errors. Execute is not implemented. Okay. The pass won't be executed. Okay. But it did make the entire screen black, which means something happened. But I mean, almost there, no errors. Because we wrote the pass, but we never called it. Unity is clearly ignoring execute and waiting for look for something, disable it or enable. Well, I already disabled the compatibility mode or enabled. Okay, and if I enable this, does not have an implementation. So the vignette feature and the pass do not have the correct implementation. because they have the execute. So let's do compatibility mode, because I have the feeling that we are actually pretty close. If disabled correctly, your execute runs and the warning disappears. Accept render graph, minimal render graph version. So it went back to give us a render graph version. This avoids the fake APIs that apparently hallucinated earlier. You're welcome for catching that. And what am I supposed to do with this code? Okay, so I have the compatibility mode enabled. My entire screen is black. Let's work with this because I have a good feeling. Can you give me working codes? Just one thing. I am asking you to do this one thing. Unity 6.2 URP 72.0. And we have the material, we have the handle, we have the execute, cleanup, render pass. We have everything in here, and it most likely will not work. Because abstract inherited member add render passes is not implemented. Shader sanity, why it was black before. Reasons why it was black, and this nothing. This should just throw an error, right? And the error is, what do you want me to do next? Fix this error, and you enable compatibility modes, implement add render pass. So it's giving me another snippet. On camera setup, this one looks like it's working, and no errors here. And giving back the shader. I don't care about the shader right now. I never did, actually. On camera setup, execute, on camera cleanup. What was the method that was not implemented? What did it? Add render passes. Okay, so it's okay. So this was the pass, then the feature did not implement. Require abstract method, simply include the pass. Property is obsolete. And it's for compatibility mode, which we are using. And tell me, what's going on? Is something happening to my screen? We are going to stay the whole year to figure this out. Okay, so you can only call so wait, this is related to the danger pass. Oh, yeah, maybe I should remove that. So go to settings, because this is clearly not working yet. This is clearly not ready. And okay, now I only have the error. Did I have working stuff? Almost, but not yet. Come on, GPT, I believe in you. Just give me the right stuff. And this is like not even, it's not like general logic or algorithmics or stuff like that. There's just effective API that needs to be put together in a specific way. Let me Unity post processing feature pass how to create a custom post processing effect. Did I give up on AI? Use the material in the full screen pass render feature. In the inspector, click add render feature and select full screen pass render feature. For more information, how to add a render feature to render. How to add a render feature to render. The inspector showed this. Add render feature. Unity adds the render feature. This is like reading a book for 2-year-olds. So this is for pre-built effects. I want to add the custom what? Pre-built effects. Okay, so we have, oh my god, custom post processing. The URP has variety, no, post processing effects. Create custom post processing using the render feature. Scene with no post processing. Scene with grayscale custom post processing effect. How to create the custom post processing. And I'm back to the what? No. Okay. This looks like it's for the pre-built effects. Is this why GPT cannot find the correct answer? Because okay, so create a full screen shader graph. Yeah, this is like the hlsl shader that we just did. I'm not too worried about that. Use the material in a full screen pass render feature. Once you've created a compatible shader, add render feature, set the material, set injection point, and set requirements. And how to add a render feature. I'm going to cry. Okay, so we are looking for scriptable render feature. Unity custom example of complete scriptable render feature. A scriptable render feature requires an instance of scriptable render pass. A scriptable render pass creates a temporary render texture and applies two passes to the custom shader using RT, handle, and bleed API. Yes. Create the render feature. We have the create, we have the add render pass, which it already gave it to us. And then we have the blur render pass class, which it also created for us. We have the execute method. We have some custom stuff, the constructor, void override configure. Do we need that? Update settings, execute. If this fails again to work 2 weeks in a row, dispose, implement the dispose method that destroys the material instance the render feature creates. The method also calls dispose method from the render class pass. This is stuff GPT missed entirely, and this is basically where we can just tell it to be professional, act like a senior. Blur volume component. Okay, implement the volume component. In this section, show how to implement a volume component that lets you control input values from the custom for the custom render feature. So once we have the render feature, we also need to add the component, because that is apparently how we add stuff to the volume. Okay, so the custom render pass, custom feature, and the volume component. And the shader for the blur effect. Okay, let's go back a little to this. Let's do one last try to actually have a working vignette feature. And hopefully this time there's no errors. Can we make something simpler? I don't think so. Okay. That's just great. Well, no errors, but now everything is black. Black screen but no compile errors. The shader is probably the problem, and if we want to tell that the shader is the problem, but I have the feeling that it just screwed up, and we will just be returning the color red, because I don't think the shader is the problem. I think the shader actually was showing some stuff on the material, right? Assertion failed. So, oh, okay, wait, I didn't assign the material, wait. Or did I? No, I did assign the material. So it just fails because it fails. Assertion failed. Yeah, it just fails because it fails. And now that I removed it, then it's red, just like I configured the shader. Let's go back to what it used to be. And I'm taking one last try at trying to actually learn this. What was it trying to do? It was trying to blur thingy. Post processing blur. And it already gave us the scripts. Custom shader. So yeah, instead of copy pasting the code from ChatGPT, we are going to copy paste the code from the Unity documentation. The only difference is that ChatGPT actually is giving us a challenge and is trying to actually make us work through the code and trying to figure out what's working and what's not, while the documentation and perhaps Stack Overflow is giving us an easy option to copy paste, while we can just blindly do stuff and not learn anything. And this is why ChatGPT actually teaches juniors more than the classic stuff, because you are going to run into more challenges. And this is my custom effect blur, and shader error and custom effect blur. Let me guess, I need to do this. Is the error gone? Text of size. Unity RP. Okay, let's keep going. I have faith in something. I don't know what. Custom volume component. Component. Blur render pass. Just waiting for it to load. More errors, more warnings. Create new script. Blur render pass. Okay, make it compile. Method is obsolete. Of course it's obsolete. Blur settings and blur render feature, create script, blur and we are moving this. No errors, please compile, no errors, and we have this thing. Yeah, the variable has been deprecated. So if I go to 17.2, no, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this page for 17.2. Warning, obsolete, no longer used. What does it tell me to do? Create a new material? Just create those. Do all this stuff. I mean, let's try to configure it because ChatGPT already taught us what to actually do. We have the render feature, we add the render feature, we add the shader to the render feature. Which is post-processing blur. Does anything happen? Nothing happens. But at the same time, no, we are getting. It does not have an implementation, so I'm definitely doing something wrong at this point. There's something wrong with me. Custom volume component is active, horizontal blur, vertical blur. And none of this is working because it does not have an implementation of record render graph. Okay, let's try to do compatibility mode because this is actually an example from Unity 16 from the documentation, and let's just clear everything and move to the scene, and there's no errors, nothing bad is happening, but where is my blur? Like I have the vignette, the bloom, the tone mapping, and everything is working, and then I have this and nothing is happening. Yeah, and this is how you know that it doesn't work. Yeah, so to make it work, I don't know. Let's try next week and maybe we'll actually figure out something. Thank you for sticking with me while trying to not... You know, I think I know the solution to this. Yeah, we are going to dump ChatGPT because I wanted to dump it tonight, but I told myself, no, it's too much also. Yeah, so we're just going to quit ChatGPT and we're going to move to another AI, and that is the perfect solution to have. Thank you for sticking with me, and until next time. Have a good one.